Have you heard people talk about affirmations and how powerful they are? But somehow saying some stuff to yourself that you don't quite believe doesn't have the same effect that everyone claims for it to. I know that when I was going through a lot of work with myself, trying to believe really positive things about myself was extremely hard. So I want to break down what you could do in the meantime, and I'm going to share a journaling practice that I use that has completely changed the game of affirmations for me. So first thing, if you want to change an opinion about yourself, but maybe you have a deep-seated belief that you're not good enough, or you're not capable, or you're not worthy, all of these things are not inherently true and definitely not something we choose to believe, but for whatever reason, our brain has picked it up along the way. Our brains learn stuff without our permission all the time. It is really hard to go from 0 to 100. So I don't actually think the antidote to negative thinking is positivity. I think it's neutrality. Practicing neutral thoughts is one of the best ways that you can possibly change your mind. My name is Chelsea. I am a flutist, a classical musician, a mindset coach for musicians, and kind of just humans who are in a creative space and want to really enjoy what they're doing, because when what you love becomes your job, things can get a little dicey. So this is what we talk about here. Our self-worth can get tied up in what we do, and I know that goes not just for creatives and musicians, but for everyone. So take what you want and apply it to your own life here. Okay, back to neutrality. If I think I'm so bad at the flute, because I'm a flutist, if I think I'm so bad at the flute, and then I want to think I'm amazing, I'm an amazing flutist, those two things, like that is not accessible to me right now, right? That new thought of I'm amazing feels counter to everything my brain and body has learned up until this point if I believe that I'm not very good. So how do we bridge that gap? We state neutral thoughts. Maybe at first, instead of when that thought, I'm terrible at the flute, comes up, I reroute to, I play the flute. And I keep practicing that thought. That is a fact. I can believe it. I can get on board with it. My brain's on board with it. And it actually just it doesn't hurt, but it's true at the same time. And so I'm going to implement that. I'm going to practice thinking that thought until it becomes my go-to thought in whatever circumstance I'm in. Because if that's your go-to thought, you're going to experience a lot more relief and a little less pain than you would if you just keep thinking that you're really bad at the flute. Obviously, you can apply this to whatever you want to. This could be, I'm not good enough. I'm a human that exists in the world. I'm not worthy. I'm a human that exists in the world. And then you can move on to, I actually really love myself and I think I'm awesome. Something like that. But that is not believable if you're thinking, I'm not good enough and I'll never be good enough, or whatever your story is. This is just one way to actively practice moving your mind and thoughts in the direction that you want to go. Now, practice thoughts become beliefs. That's why this is so powerful. That's why affirmations are really powerful. But sometimes we have to get to neutral first. Now, that is how I would bridge the gap between negative and positive thinking. I don't think it's talked about enough, and I think we get into a toxic positivity zone if we try to go from 0 to 100 without bridging the gap in the middle. You can also create different thoughts in the middle, right? It's possible that someday I'm going to believe XYZ. I'm becoming the person that thinks they're amazing. You can use the phrasing, it's possible that. It's possible for other people that, right? It's kind of creating a little wiggle room in your brain is always a good thing, because then your brain goes in the way of possibility instead of the way of judgment. So we want to create space, we want to create neutrality so we can implement these positive beliefs eventually. And I have to say, I've done this work so much. I used to have a lot of body image issues, and I would stand in front of the mirror. I'd have to cover mirrors. I couldn't do it. And I would just say to myself, that is a human body. And that is what I practiced for months and months, because it felt better than whatever my brain was telling me before. And I could believe it because it is a human body. Oh my gosh, look, those are human arms. Look, that's a human face. And it just feels a lot better than saying whatever garbage society has implemented in our brains. A perspective that I found that has really helped me get to more believable affirmations that may be a little more out of reach a little bit more quickly is this concept that I first heard of from Eckhart Tolle. And I think it was in the book, The Power of Now. This concept really changed the way I saw everything. He talks about how the past and the future only exist in our mind. So you can't visit the past. Every time you recall a memory, that's happening in your brain. That's not happening in reality, but it's having an effect on your now reality. Same thing with the future. The past is as made up as the future because it can't exist in the present. And I think that is such an amazing concept. And it reminds me of this quote that I heard from a coach named Cara Lowenthal. She said it on her podcast, and I could not stop thinking about it, where she said, yesterday is as over as ancient Rome. And I thought, holy moly, yeah, 5 minutes ago is as over as ancient Rome. Like, the past is as over as ancient Rome, and I know that Roman Empire thing was like a thing on TikTok for a while, but I don't concern myself with that, with ancient Rome very often, right? So why am I concerning myself, replaying all of these things in my mind from yesterday? Right? It's over. So I can let it go. And I don't really know what inspired me to start this practice of letting go of the past every single day. But I think it's been one of the most impactful practices that I've ever done. So every morning I start my journaling with the same sentence. I'm letting go of everything that's ever happened in the past. It doesn't exist anymore. And then I let go of the expectations I have of others, because I can't control them. I let go of the outcome of whatever work that I'm doing because I can't control it. Anything I can't control, I actively let go of. And I wrote it down. And for a while, the first few days I did it, I was writing down pages of things I wanted to let go. Old stories of myself, old habits that I wanted to let go of. Just things that didn't serve me and I wanted to release. So after that, I actually put that in one journal to the side, and then I have a second journal, and then I write down the self-concept that I want for myself. What kind of person am I? For example, I write down, I'm just a lucky person. I'm just the kind of person that gets chosen for things. I write down the person I've always wanted to be, and I feel that and I identify with it, and it is so much easier and more accessible once I have done the practice of letting go. Because I can start new right now, today, every second. The past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. It exists equally in our mind. We have what's in front of us right now, and we are only able to be the person we want to become right now, because the past and the future doesn't exist. This got a little philosophical, and I hope you were down for it, but I think it's one of the most impactful things I've ever done in my journaling, and I have filled so many journals, let me tell you. But if you try this, please let me know how it goes. It feels great to just let go. Know that the past is the past. Whatever's in front of you is in front of you, and you get to choose from right now the kind of person you are. And I feel like that's one of the most powerful practices I've ever done. I've personally been doing it since July, and it has revolutionized the way that I see myself. I was practicing the positive things, like I'm just a lucky person, I'm always chosen for things, stuff like that. I've been doing that for about 2 years, but the way that it hits different when I let go of all of the garbagey nonsense in my brain, it's really powerful. So please try it. Please let me know how it goes if you do in the comments, and I will see you next time.